Hey, Mr. McQuilkin, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Power Athlete Radio.
Thanks for having me, John.
What are we going to discuss today?
Well, we tapped in to our nutrition crew.
Oh, so we have another question off the hotline.
A training question.
From the hotline.
Yes.
And, we have this thing called a hotline, Power Athlete Hotline, where people leave questions. If you are interested in leaving us a question for training, nutrition, life, fashion sense, whatever it is, 929-464-4640. 929-ING-0 is the number. So we're going to go to our hotline and pull a nutrition training question out. We have both Rob and Sam from Power Athlete Nutrition on to help us send this one home. So let's fire it up.
Hey, guys. Are you ready?
Yeah. Ready.
All right. This is a text. It's quite a long text. I didn't know texts go this long, but here we go. Hey, Power Athlete. My name is Caleb. I'm a longtime listener and follower of the Power Athlete program. I've got a nutrition question for you about maintaining mass while doing long endurance work. I'm currently training for my second Ironman triathlon. During my first race, I lost 45 pounds and was skinny as a rail. For context, I'm 6'3" and like to walk around at 235 pounds, 125 pounds of skeletal muscle mass on the in-body.
Wait a minute. Did you say he only had 125 pounds of lean body mass and he's 230?
Yeah, according to an in-body. I don't know what an in-body is, but
135 divided by 225.
It puts him at like 40%.
40% body fat.
Yeah.
But
well, we got other problems more so than doing a triathlon or whatever.
Should we cut this question in half then?
Let's continue.
Continue the joke. This go around, I'm shooting for a body weight of 225 pounds on race day with 120 pounds of skeletal muscle mass. My question is there a way to maintain these numbers without going extremely high on carbohydrates? I don't love packing on calories with tons of carbs. My training is currently 6 to 9 hours of conditioning, work on the bike, pool, or running. I also sling weight around for about 45 minutes, 5 days a week, and I'm also very active at work. I average 10K steps a day just at work. Thanks for all y'all do and keeping the info coming. Bye. Is there a lot to unpack here, John?
The bigger problem we have is he must not understand how to calculate lean body mass and what his body fat is, because if his body fat is 40%, which is what he's telling us.
Okay, the in-body's telling him.
Well, the in-body, I would fucking throw that thing in the trash and go get some calipers, go find a bod pod or find a DEXA scan, find something to get us an accurate measurement, because I'm not even going to talk to you about aerobic training and carbs and everything if you're 40% body fat. I mean, at that point, we got to at least get you into something that looks like a 20s, a 2s, 18, 16. I mean, you don't have enough skeletal muscle to be able to even protect yourself on to go do a triathlon. I mean, you're not going to need a wetsuit because you can be able to float like a motherfucker. But, dude, this is all right. I'll hand it to you guys before I get fucking pissed.
well, first of all, I hope he's reading it wrong, right? Like, I hope he's reading the scan incorrectly, because Rob and I we saw this come through and we're like, yeah, wait, how are you running?
Well, he's using the in-body, which I would just fucking throw in the trash.
Well, there are several scales, get it, of in-body. We have one where it's a bathroom scale for $350 with the sensors, or there's like a 10 grand one it's pretty big. So I don't know which one he's using.
Well, I mean, the body caliper, while it is not always accurate, is always good if you can start using it consistently. Like, I mean, like the calipers are really dependent on the person who's pulling it, but if the same person pulls it in the exact same places, now all of a sudden you can chart those numbers over time. Mm-hmm. The only real accurate way I've seen is obviously, the bod pod has some issues, but really it's a DEXA scan. So I would recommend to go get a DEXA scan, because it's really hard to start prescribing calories if somebody's 40% body fat. I mean, fat's extremely oxidative. Then we start talking about metabolic flexibility, and there's a whole bunch of issues when you're 40% body fat.
Yeah, I think that reading also does, it separates out extracellular water and total body water too, which is possibly why it seems so low. But that was one of the first things that kind of jumped out at me. If he's 225 and 125 or 120 pounds of skeletal muscle mass, that's a lot. That seems like a lot of body fat to carry around for, and especially with the amount of work he's doing. Um, that's just seems like an awful lot of body fat.
Well, if you're slinging weights 5 days a week and you're doing 9 hours of aerobic work, for you to not be able to build muscle and to be 40% body fat, there is something inherently wrong within inside the body. I mean, at that point, I would just be like, hey, man, I don't know what your 401k is, but cash that bitch out because we got a lot of fucking testing to do. I mean, that would be like Vibrant America's panel. I mean, we would do genetic testing. I would look at thyroid. I would look at everything and be like, hey, man, like if you're doing this amount of training and you're watching, like if you're doing that amount of training and at least not eating like 10,000 calories of pizza a day, like there's no way you should be 40% body fat. Like sedentary people that sit on their ass, not people that, move 10,000 steps and do 9 hours aerobic work and sling weights 5 days a week that aren't 40% body fat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, we can tackle that as well as specific towards his question. And I mean, how could he maintain? Do we start with the protein? That's the consistent, right? Yeah. We know based off his body weight, we dial in the protein. What adjustments do we make outside of that? What's our prescription for protein for new listeners? 2, where do we go from there?
Well, I'll defer to you guys on this one. So,
go ahead, Sam.
Oh, okay. So for protein, starting at 1 gram per pound of body weight. Some people do 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. In his case, I wouldn't do that. He needs more protein than 125 grams a day. But that's like a good starting place whenever you're building out a diet. That's like the first thing is protein. More so important than any of the other macronutrients. So that's a good range. So I don't know. I know Rob and I do the same thing, but probably like that 0.8 to 1.5%, but starting with that 1 gram is where I start with most people.
I start there
and
as
I'd
well.
start with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the next step? Do you ask activity level with your clients or goals first?
Hand in hand.
Yeah. They're hand in hand.
Yeah. So he's like a very busy guy, right? He's doing a lot of work, strength training, walking around a ton at work. So his energy balance, he's going to need a lot more calories than, we talk about in other podcasts, like the computer warrior who's just desk jockeying it up. So his energy balance is high. And it sounds like for the most part, he does want to maintain. He wants to lean a little bit. I use that term lightly. He wants to lose 10 pounds. He needs to lean a lot more than just 10 pounds, but maintaining that muscle mass will help and building muscle. So that would be his goal. I don't know. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm getting ahead of myself on him.
Well, I mean, I think that is his goal. I think, one of the things that he's shooting to try to do is because I think that, in his during his first race, he said he lost 45 pounds and was skinny as a rail. I'm going to jump out there and probably say that he probably lost a good amount of muscle mass with that, just because of the volume of work. And if he wasn't properly fueled, then his body was looking for fuel sources, so it was going to start breaking down muscle. And so, he wants to do this without a high carb, but I think he's going to need more carbs than he thinks he needs, because I mean we're gonna put protein in him because we want him to, that's protective for muscle mass. But I think you also, just given the volume of work, he's going to need a decent amount of carbs too, because carbs are also a little protective of protein, and muscle breakdown, because you're providing enough fuel for him to get through the the exercise and the volume of work that he's doing, because it mostly is going to use carbs as a source. So he's going to need a decent amount of carbs in there. I don't think he can go out of it. I don't think he can go and approach this from some sort of keto approach or even very low carbs. I think he's going to have a decent amount of carbs.
Yeah, we also don't know when race day is. So getting him successfully into ketosis, and then is he training, in that anabolic window? Is he monitoring it? There's just a lot of questions that go along with that, because it can be done, right? I can't remember where I saw it or who his name is, but there's a cyclist that, he's doing 250 miles on his bike and he maintains ketosis, but he's still eating like 200 to 300 grams of carbohydrate a day.
Yeah. I think that was, wasn't that Peter Attia? Or no, it's not Peter Attia, but it's somebody else. And I know that was a really interesting thing for the ketogenic deal, where he was able to stay pretty deep in ketosis, eating like 200 or 300 grams of carbohydrates because the aerobic, his aerobic volume was so high.
So high, right?
I'll tell you, like for a dude if he's banging weights 5 days a week and doing 9 hours of aerobic work, which would be roughly, he's probably going like 4 or 5 days a week for, 2+ hours at a time. I don't think I would even, I would probably set his protein and be like, hey, okay, here's your protein requirement. And I would get him something like a Garmin watch and be like, hey man, I need you to monitor your calories and I need you to eat, at least maintenance, if not plus. And I would not have you be fearful of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are not a boogeyman. They are not evil unless you're type 1 diabetic, and now we have problems. But for most healthy individuals, especially doing this amount of aerobic work, they should have no problem digesting carbohydrates unless he's 40% body fat. And if he's 40% body fat and fat's extremely oxidative, then he's not going to be able to process carbohydrate. People forget this, that I think based upon and I did, I've referenced a talk I did for the NSCA on metabolic flexibility, but the key factor for metabolic flexibility is lean body mass. The more muscle you carry in the lower amount of fat that you are, the more metabolically flexible you are. So whenever you hear like Mark Sisson, who was just on Joe Rogan, talking about metabolic, ways to make yourself more metabolically flexible, what he forgets is it doesn't really fucking matter how you get lean. It's just more important that you are lean and carry a high amount of muscle. So if somebody is 40% body fat, they're obviously not going to be able to process carbohydrate the same way that a person who's 5% body fat is. So, their metabolic flexibility will be off just based upon that, because one, muscles makes you insulin sensitive, and fat is extremely oxidative. So you're kind of in a double crux. But yeah, I'm really hoping that number is a mess up and he's just got some $10 piece of shit thing that he's using that's giving him terrible body measurements.
What's jumping out to me, currently training for my second Ironman triathlon. During my first race, I lost 45 pounds. I imagine during the prep for that. How long was that prep? 3 months? Did you lose that 45 pounds? Or was it over 6 months and then you became skinny as a rail? And then following that race, what happens in which you put back on this 45 pounds of unwanted weight versus some productive lean body mass? What was going on there? And if you're a power athlete follower, why not get on our programs once you're in this stage of skinny as a rail to find a hypertrophy style? So is this a call for a lifestyle change in which, I'm going to set a big goal that's going to force me to lose unwanted body fat? And 2, we need more program direction. Once you complete this goal, my friend, let's get you on a lean body mass program and tap one of our nutrition coaches.
Well, I don't know if I would take somebody who was 40% body fat and put him into a triathlon. I just don't think that would be the training I would select for them to try to lean out. I would be like, hey, I want you to lift some weights. We're going to do a little bit of aerobic work. I'd pick like one of his things, and I would try to keep him into a negative calorie deficit in a super high protein diet. And I would try to just build muscle and be like, hey man, you're going to be able to defend yourself and feel a lot better if we can get your body mass up. And, let's say we get him down to 20% body fat. He's going to feel much better and much stronger through that entire race. So I just don't know if the wear and tear and the pounding of that excess weight would be even worth something that I'd even want to get into.
Well, I know what you're saying, but the common thought, like for people just getting into fitness and movement.
Yeah.
Oh, and my sister did this. Sign up for a half marathon.
Yeah.
Force me into running and training. Stop it. Lift weights. But that's just the common thing, is to create this goal to force me into action.
People have this. That was what was really interesting about CrossFit. Before CrossFit, how did people that were no longer playing college sports, or people like, what was something that they could train for? And it was always like a marathon.
Mm-hmm. Oprah did it.
Or Al Roger did it too. The other one is, the next one, because everybody's seen, the Ironman from Hawaii, and, watch these guys, and, there they are running through the mountain or running through the hills of Hawaii, and, 26 miles. But I don't know if that's really the marker for performance for most people. I think basically lifting some weights, feeling pretty healthy, and getting your body fat into a measurable amount should be a better goal. So if he wants to do a triathlon, if he was my client, I'd be like, why don't we get over this hill next? And once we get over that hill, then let's look at this. But something's rotten here.
Yeah, I see where he's coming from, and there are hills to climb that are more within a power athlete perspective, like the Spartan races. Mm-hmm. Different skills, still a sense of accomplishment at the end of it. Not everyone completes it. You get your medal, and it's sprint, it's skill challenge, it's climb, it's crawl. And hell, man, you can loop in a team aspect of it. I'd put that before the pounding and the grinding of the triathlon. Training is what I mean, not the specific race. But there's something deeper here. I concur with you, John, and I feel there's a better way, my friend. I'm not poo-pooing your goal right now. Fucking crush it. But then let's look to something else following this accomplishment once you are down to, I'll call it a playing weight, that we can really work with to get more body mass biomarkers for your long-term health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was my first thing when I read this too. I was like, it kind of sounds like he's recreationally doing Ironmans, which I don't know if that's a thing. But he kind of just wants to.
It's popular. It's very popular.
Yeah. And it's like he almost just wants to say like, oh, I accomplished this, which is awesome. It's something I probably will never do. I ran one marathon in my life, and it was a game time decision at that split where it says 13.1 this way, 26.2 that way. And I decided I felt really good. Anyways, that's for another conversation. But agreed. It's like, why did you choose an Ironman? There's so many other performance metrics we can look at, or trail runs, Spartan races that you can do that'd probably be better suited to what it sounds like his goals are, lifting weights, leaning out, maintaining muscle mass. I think that would make him feel more successful at the end.
Yeah, I'm also curious as to, what is the slinging weights around? Mm-hmm. What's that look like? Like almost if he's on some sort of power athlete program, I'd almost think that Grindstone would probably be a better place for him. Get a couple of good weightlifting days in, upper body, lower body, and then do your triathlon training and don't sling weights 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. Just because, that's just so much activity at some point, depending on his age, his body's going to have to rebel and break down, mm-hmm. especially if not properly fueled.
Well, right. And if he has that time too, instead of strength training, maybe he's focusing on like really good shoulder mobility and shoulder health for like the swim and hip mobility and just feeling really good. And then his performance on those training days and, on the bike, swim and run, he will feel better in my, so what I would suggest.
Nutrition wise, sticking with our theme here while we're ranting on goals and big picture, we've locked in protein, and previous episodes we talked about the importance of a bathroom scale. So not like the in-body measurement,
Yeah.
How can he utilize that bathroom scale as a tool to make sure that the protein's dialed, carbs are dialed, and then this is a question for you, John. What's the barometer of his training? Should he tap into sleep or times or feel to ensure that his goal of nutrition is accomplished here?
Well, I mean, first place I always start is food quality. Like, what are you eating? If we can start there, and you're eating a high quality diet, high protein, animal based proteins, and then you're backfilling with carbs and mono and saturated and saturated fats, I think we're pretty far ahead. Years ago, when Rob and I started talking about the paleo diet, it made a ton of sense to me. Not from the 40,000 years ago, this is how our ancestors ate, but more from like a nutrient density, high quality foods, nutrient dense foods, foods that aren't going to cause gut irritation and a ton of problems down the road. So I think if we can just put them on a more nutrient dense diet, like something like the paleo diet, and I'll tell you, the thing that fucking was the death of the paleo deal wasn't the food, it was the fucking weirdos. It was.
I'm trying to remember, what's the paleo deal that was in Austin?
Paleo FX. So all of a sudden, they got fucking fire jugglers, and everybody that's got any type of fucking something they're trying to hustle is out there, and it's just like it became literally paleo jumped the shark before CrossFit jumped the shark. And as I was watching this thing, I'm like, dude, it makes a ton of sense. Not from an evolutionary standpoint as much, but just from the idea of nutrient density, it makes a ton of sense. And the problem is that paleo got kind of mixed up in the magic, where all of a sudden people started talking about magic, and next thing you know, these magic foods,
the black box,
the whole magic food thing, and that was the death of it. But at the end of the day, it makes a ton of sense just from nutrient density. That's how people should eat. You should eat one ingredient. Going back to the old man Zanga saying, nobody got strong eating out of a vending machine. So eating nutrient dense foods, eating one ingredient, things, on the outside of the, when you walk into the supermarket, if you stay on the outside of the supermarket, you avoid all the shit in the middle. You're usually pretty good. So, I mean, there were some really, really solid information in there. So for me, I'd say, hey, you know what? We're going to figure out what the most nutrient dense diet are. Are you eating a high protein diet? And then are you monitoring your calories, and are you weighing yourself? So if we know how many calories that you're consuming in a day, we know what your body weight is, and we have a scale, and you're eating a nutrient-dense diet, we know with the training, we start working all these numbers backwards, we can effectively put together an equation that allows him to continue to lose body fat and gain muscle, we would hope. The problem is that if you're doing that much aerobic work, any type of excess muscle that you're trying to gain is just getting fucking burned. Because what people forget is muscle is much more expensive to maintain than fat is. So if you're in a situation where you're in a super caloric deficit or you're in starvation and you're not eating a high protein diet, then it's not muscle sparing. Your body's going to fucking give up muscle. That's why when you see people with wasting disease or people give up cancer, they just lose muscle mass like that, because the body knows muscle is extremely expensive to maintain. So let's get rid of it and I can keep you longer on fat. So your body's pretty sharp. That's why it gives away the muscle quick and holds on to the fat, because it can survive longer on fat stores.
Yeah, it's an evolutionary protection, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, this, especially if he's losing, 45 pounds in training, that's almost equivalent to a yo-yo diet, right? Where he's drastically dropping weight. Like your question, Tex, how long was this? How long was this process that he went to get to the 45 pounds drop? But somewhere along the way, he was definitely losing muscle mass.
Oh yeah.
He had to be, and in the end of the day, that is like a yo-yo diet. When you do go back to trying to gain weight back, it's going to be much easier for you to gain fat versus that.
Well, Rob, just to give you a heads up, if he lost 45 pounds of fat, we'd be listening to his fucking podcast. and because the dude would absolutely be fucking shredded. He'd be like, hey, I just lost 45 pounds of fat and now I'm fucking shredded. Yeah. And we'd be like, wow, this is a great podcast. We just had this dude on who was doing our training, was following a tribe. Like, this is how he's eating, lost 45 pounds of fat, and the dude's fucking shredded. So
guaranteed 1 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah. So if he's emailing us, it's because he lost 45 pounds of muscle and looks like a melted candle. So I mean, if you don't like, if you're 225 pounds and you lose 45 pounds of fat, 45 pounds of lean body mass, man, it's not going to be a good look, especially in a
And he only has
Speedo.
125 of it to begin with.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Speedo. Is that what triathletes swim in?
Yeah, no, that's what they roll in. They swim in a Speedo, then they get on the bike. I mean, you've seen it, and then they run in a Speedo.
I think they have
haven't
tri-suits
seen
now
it.
that are kind of like a
Like a sausage casing.
sleeve, yeah, pretty much.
Like you basically
But it goes all the way up. But I've done a few sprint triathlons.
Did you
They
wear
are
a Speedo?
happy.
Did you wear a Speedo?
Thong.
Like
I
an
mean,
old
why else?
timey
I mean-
1930s swimsuit. You remember those things?
Yeah, like one that looks like almost like a painter's outfit, like a painter's jumpsuit.
Yeah, but skin tight.
Be good. Well, I mean, if you're gonna do the try, I mean, like I remember watching like years ago when I was a kid on like ABC, they would have like they would do live broadcasts of like the triathlon in Hawaii, like the Ironman, and I remember like all those dudes, just like I remember those guys with like running shoes, a Speedo, and just a whole bunch of numbers like drawn on them, because they would like number them when they come out of the water. And these dudes just like rolled in a Speedo. And I'm like thinking to myself, how the fuck did this guy just ride a bike 100 miles in a Speedo? Like the amount of chafing, there's no fucking way. But those dudes are pencil skinny. I mean, dude, they're running in like Speedos and like their legs aren't touching, so they're not getting chafing. I'm like, dude, I would have started a forest fire in that thing.
Yeah, I'm out.
My legs fucking rubbed together.
Yeah, no way. And then the running,
Oh yeah, the nipples.
Oh,
the
yeah.
nips.
Yeah, so that's why they
Go shirtless?
They go shirtless, because if not, it basically rubs. That's why you got to put Band-Aids over your nipples.
Ah,
That's-
I was putting
That's
pasties.
selling it.
Yeah.
I'm about to go train for an Ironman now.
Yeah, or we come up with a man sports bra, and then there's a niche
You
market.
know,
The man's ear?
there's already one of those.
there?
Yeah, so there's a company, like an apparel company in the UK, and I only know this because Harry Heppenstall forwarded it to me, where they had these like when I hunt, when I bow hunt or whatever, I have this like kind of like thing that straps around. It's like a backpack kind of reversed, but it has a pouch in the front. You can keep your binoculars in there. So it's real handy if you're like sitting up, because there's nothing worse than like let's say you're sitting up in a blind, or you're sitting in a place, or you're kind of creeped down. You can just kind of like unzip, pull the binoculars out, put them back down, and then get to action. But these guys had like a similar looking one, except it was like basically looked like a sports bra, that they had this pouch on the front that they were like keeping their phones, and so you can fucking Instagram yourself. You can stick it on the front, that way you can, because the only thing that people need on social media other than pictures of your food is for them to like relive your workouts with you. But this whole thing was set up, and like, so Harry forwarded it to me, and he's like, oh, what do you think? You think there's a big market for this? I'm like, you mean for men's sports bras?
Bros.
Yeah. And we were calling them sports bros.
Yeah, that's a
There
Seinfeld
we
man's
go.
ear.
Yeah. The man's ear,
Yeah.
the bro. Yeah. Same deal. Yeah. But I mean, all these dudes were like wearing them, and I'm like, I wonder how they had to convince these dudes, be like, it holds your phone. I got pockets, dude. I don't need a bro.
I guess I got to see these. Well, they probably need pockets
We'll
because
put
they
it in the show
only
notes.
wear
Oh,
compression shorts.
well,
That's a big thing.
this is
Wouldn't you rather wear a belt? Like,
well,
not gonna lie,
A
I wear
utility
fanny
belt
pack
like
around the
Batman?
house.
no,
I'm
like
100%
a
in on
fucking
utility
fanny
belt.
pack. I like fanny packs.
I wear one.
Yeah.
Because leggings don't have pockets.
My wife wears a fanny pack every single day.
Sweatshirts don't have pockets.
Yeah, my wife wears a fanny pack every day. But think about this, right? So here's the new gym thing, which I can't figure out. And the only reason I first observed it on Charles, I think, is the capri pants with the shorts over the top.
Dude, that's a basketball thing. That's big time.
What, you mean wearing spandex capri pants?
Uh-huh.
Over-
Compression pants and then like gym shorts, basketball shorts. Yeah, that's basketball.
That's a basketball thing?
Oh, yeah. Look at the pros. And then they like compressions. So they go up half calf. I'll tell you what's worse. And then it's the single leg. So you wear, this is what I don't understand. I guess compression for one leg only. But then at what point do they cut off the other sleeve? Is it like mid-thigh?
You know why? Who was the guy that used to always pull the one sleeve leg up? Was that LL Cool J?
You're asking the wrong guy.
Fuck, I can't remember who it is, but like there's a cultural reference for this. There was a rapper or some form of hip hop that used to always pull his calf up, or pulled a leg up, and they asked him once. He's like, I got a leg up on the competition.
That's
So
great.
like
I love it.
Yeah, so that was the kind of whenever I see it, but
Well, for lacrosse, we had rule was until X amount of date you had to wear your sweats. So some days were hot as all hell. So then we just go calf up on the sweatpants.
yeah, I agree with you on that.
I'm not mad.
I mean,
at that.
were you
Not the
wearing
capri.
spandex capri pants?
No, not the capri sweatpants,
Well,
but the sweatpants that had some elastic ankles.
I think what it is girls train. I mean, pretty much tights, like girls that are wearing tights. Like my wife wears them to work out, and we go out, and she's still wearing tights. I'm like, this is just like part of the uniform now for girls. And they either have capri pants or they go all the way down. I think dudes get jealous and are like, I can't believe these women get to wear tights all the time. I want to rock tights. But then one dude went out, and they were like, I don't know. You're gonna have to cover that up a little bit. Nobody wants to see.
I'm not mad at the compression pants if I got shorts over it, but then there's dudes that rock compression pants only. So like everything's out there.
Paul Carter will post some videos of him just in compression pants. I don't know. I mean, I would definitely have to spill water on him and be like, nice pants, bro.
Yeah.
I got paid a lot of money to wear white spandex in front of millions of people, and I don't really care to wear fucking compression. I didn't even like wearing that shit when I played.
Well, now there's a lot of guys that just do that. They don't get paid a lot of money.
Yeah, they don't get bent. Like the old commercial where where Randy Cross is at the bar, and then the lady's like, he's like, yeah, I played in the NFL, and she drops something, he bends over, and she's like, oh, you're Randy Cross. He was a center.
I don't remember that, but it's funny.
He was a center for the Dallas Cowboys, I believe. Man, I might be fucking up his team, but he was a pretty famous center. So they had a Bud Light commercial with Randy Cross, and he like bends over, and he's like, oh, you're Randy Cross, like looking at his ass.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was funny. So it's because he wears white spandex.
Yeah, there was another commercial. It must be football season. So I remember somebody dropping something in line at a store, bending over to pick it up, and this lady gets right up underneath him and starts like calling out like, blue 42, blue 42. But her like hands are in the quarterback position. So then it's like hard stamp, must be football season, Bud Light or something.
Yeah.
I forget. But marketing. So when do the Power Athlete Capri compression pants come out for Charles to wear, John?
I probably when he gets a high and tight, and we get him with a like
high and tight. His bro pone is on
nah,
point.
dude. I think we go Skrillex on Charles.
Skrillex, but he can't shave his bro pone.
Yeah, well, he just shaves one eyebrow, so he's got an eyebrow up on the competition, and then we just Skrillex the other head.
Do we draw the other one on?
LL Cool J.
It was LL Cool J. Yeah, pulling up. Was it leg up on the competition or leg up on the white man? I don't know. It was one or the other. Because that's what I used to say. I'd pull it up and be like, I got a leg up on the white man.
Man, I'm trying to remember. LL Cool J invented some
Dude,
badass
he
phrase.
had some of the best lyrics I've ever fucking heard. He had a line. There was a song he had called "Doing It," and in the line there he goes, "It was hot sex on a platter." I always remember hearing that because I used to play that in Philly, like all this LL Cool J, and I remember "hot sex on a platter." Who fucking wrote that line?
Well, I remember it's the GOAT. So LL Cool J came up with the acronym GOAT, greatest of all time. That was
dude.
him.
I'm telling you, man. Like, I mean, dude, his early stuff, he's still fucking great. And then he got fucking shredded, and now he's an actor, and now he has that like celebrity lip syncing thing.
Do you call him an actor? What was that shark movie with LL Cool J?
No, he's
Ice Cube. Or no.
he was in.
Ice Cube's hilarious.
No, LL Cool J was in. Wasn't he in Any Given Sunday?
Oh, that's right, running back.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
He's a fucking actor. He was with Al Pacino on film. He's an actor.
Oh, you're right. You win that. What is the name of that shark movie? He ate me.
He ate me?
No, he ate me. Then there's Chappelle making fun of Samuel L. Jackson in that movie because he got ate by the shark.
Oh fuck! I don't remember. I'm totally drawing a blank on this, but I just know LL Cool J. So he's got Mama Said Knock You Out. I mean, his early stuff was dope, but I just remember he had that song doing it, and in it he's like hot sex on a platter. And I remember like in Philly driving, hearing that song and being like, what did he just say? Did he say hot sex on a platter? That's fucking great.
I'm talking about Deep Blue Sea, and apparently he wrote a song for the soundtrack. Deepest Bluest, Shark's Fin. I don't even want to listen to this.
You think that like
the music video,
like the money was so good that he was like, Fuck it.
I think every actor in that movie felt that way.
It's kind of like I think I've told you guys I absolutely love the celebrity roasts. You know, where they'll have like
Comedy Central,
like
yeah.
the Comedy Central, where they roasted Tim or Justin Bieber. They did Trump. They did what was it? David Hasselhoff. The one guy made a line on David Hasselhoff. He's like, Hasselhoff, you're such a drunk that what do you say that the federal government or what? No, what do you say? He goes, alcohol lists you as a dependent on their taxes. Like he had like, dude, it's pretty good. I love those, and they always have like Snoop on there, and I'm thinking like, Snoop's just out there. He's like, I got this dope wine that I'm trying to push, man. Let me get my face out there.
Yeah, I mean they got Alec Baldwin.
Oh, dude, they killed
William Shatner.
They did and then the best is they had Caitlyn Jenner on there, and they killed her. It was great. She's running for governor.
Good for her.
I think it's hilarious that because she's conservative, but she's trans. So how do people vote against that? They can, like it's a weird one.
I don't know. Well, we shall see.
Idiocracy.
Because Matthew McConaughey is also running for Texas governor.
I think he's going to win.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Is that official?
They're putting it
official?
out there. Well, I also heard
Heard
that
it here first, guys.
Or I also heard that The Rock, he said that if the people wanted him, he would run for president.
He is the people's champion.
Well,
Get
he
my
has the
vote.
people's eyebrow. The Rock's charismatic. At least he could get up and deliver a good speech.
Yeah. And he'd look good doing it.
Yeah, he looks
Sorry,
great.
Connor.
Guy's fucking jacked.
And he would look more manly than Putin, right?
Here's-
So I mean, we've got to get that.
Well, on a horse.
Well, maybe not on a horse, but on the back of like a moving truck holding on to a helicopter.
Man, but here's the thing. His timing is really good. Like The Rock's got a really good sense of timing and a good sense of humor. Every joke that Biden tries to make comes out really awkward. Did you hear the one, like he was on like a deal and he was talking about like something with like the Cherokee Nation, and he was saying like asking these people to like let his wife come home. Like he just like, I think his sense of humor is terrible timing. Like I think you got to have somebody as a president who's got really good sense of timing and like a good, like we were talking about, Ronald Reagan had, great actor, incredible sense of timing, really good ability to deliver a good speech. I think you at this
Juncture.
fucking juncture in social media and whatever, you need somebody that can get up and deliver a really good speech.
Well, here's why I'm out on McConaughey, out on The Rock. If they are in office, they're going to be too damn busy to entertain us with movies. McConaughey and both of these actors have found their niche. McConaughey's back from the romantic comedy.
He was great in rom-coms. I've seen, what is it, The Wedding Planner and all that stuff.
Ghost of Girlfriend's Past.
Yeah,
and 10 others.
How to lose a girl in
How to
10
Lose a Guy
days,
in 10
or
Days.
lose a guy in 10 days.
We could keep going, but we're not.
Well, his greatest work is still Dazed and Confused.
I mean, it's good, but I don't know if it's greatest.
What would be greater than him?
I'll take the True Detective, his return.
What about
to
Reign
Glory.
of Fire, where he played that?
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm all in on that. We have to do that movie review for Friday.
Yeah, Friday, Reign of Fire.
Damn. I saw that in theaters. Great. But no, McConaughey and The Rock, no way we can lose that dude for 4 years. Because look, my argument is The Governator. We lost The Governator. Arnold Schwarzenegger stopped making movies after T3, ran for office. I don't know how he did in California. I was not even paying attention.
I voted for him. His policy was a little all over the map, but I think he did a much better job than Gavin Newsom. But I'll be surprised in this because they're going to recall Gavin Newsom. I'm totally forgetting the name of the mayor from San Diego. He's got a pretty good following. Caitlyn Jenner throwing her name in the ring is an interesting one. So I just saw the other day, though, that California is going to lose a congressional seat for the first time in history. That the population in California is down enough to actually lose a congressional seat.
I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah, that is big.
Does that mean Texas is going to gain one since they're all coming here?
Fuck.
I don't know how they split the counties. I I should look into this.
What you mean in Texas?
Yeah, is it because they'd have to create a new county to represent, right?
No. So what they do is they look at like the total amount of people, and then I forgot there's like some restructuring and some gerrymandering and all that.
So then Austin or one of the big cities will probably gain a district.
Yeah,
right?
we'll gain a district, and then So, you know what? I've never been very impressed with Roger Williams, as you remember when we voted. I've never really liked any of his stuff, and the fact that he's had his eyes done, he's had plastic surgery, so he always looks like he's like looking around real nervous, like everything's shocked. And and his biggest claim to fame, he has like thousands of pair of custom boots. I'm like, so this dude's had his eyes done and he's got custom boots. I'm like, this is the best thing we got for our congressman. He's never sponsored anything.
No, I met him. I toured his office. I mean, my dad and I went around with one of his pages or whatever the hell they call it for a tour of the Capitol.
Yeah.
Nice guy. TCU guy. Bottom line is Terminator 3 came out in 2003, and I had to wait 16 years until Arnold starred in Terminator Dark Fate. I don't want to wait 16 years for another Rock movie. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Hobbs and Shaw 1 through 9 to do, or 2 through 9 to do.
It's called a saga, John.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
and he's not done playing a coach. Like, did you watch Ballers? I know you didn't. The
No.
closest thing I came to an NFL is watching or hanging out with John and watching Ballers. So I don't want to lose that ex-athlete swagger that The Rock has.
His suits were great in Ballers.
Everything.
I did not watch it, but whenever I saw any of the clips, his suits were impeccable.
And
lots of plaid, lots of ill-fitting suit. It was great.
Oh, and I mean, those strong arms, he's the only person to lift up the watches that he would wear on that show. And then Denzel Washington's son played an awesome athlete, like current NFL star.
Yeah.
Because he was on practice squad for a little bit, but then and now he's making it as like a real-time actor. Oh, yeah. I like Ballers. That's all I'm saying, guys.
Nice. Well, cool. All right. Well, we went off on a tangent, as is tradition here at Power
As
Athlete
is
Radio.
tradition.
So thanks, guys, for tuning in to another episode of Power Athlete Radio. And if you guys need more help and you got more questions, hit us on the hotline, 929-464-4640. You can also drop emails to nutrition@PowerAthleteHQ if you want to connect with Rob and Sam. We have a tab on powerathletehq.com for nutrition. Reach on out. We do performance protocols. We sell a ton of pre-done protocols. If you guys need some help and if you need some coaching, reach out. We're here for you.
Yeah, and Caleb, if you made it this far into the episode and we didn't lose you, we asked you a lot of questions. We needed more. Go ahead and email our nutrition team, and let's get you rocking and rolling to kick ass in this endeavor and beyond.
Sounds good. All right. Bye.
Thanks, ninjas. Bye.
Thank you.
I'm going back. I'm a loaded freight train and I'm right on track.